Okay. So far, so good, I think. All right, we are now live on YouTube. Let's go live on TikTok. All right, awesome. All right, interesting day so far today. We've had some negative changes in some of the Mag 7 stocks just because of earnings coming up. We are getting Google's earnings today, and next week we're going to be getting Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon earnings as well as others. Today's a pretty interesting day because we've seen a really large rebound in neocloud providers, and we've also seen good days in other companies as well. So taking a look at SMCI was actually a really big winner today, Supermicro, just because of the $60 billion backlog that had been discussed with or had been talked about. This is pretty interesting. It's definitely an interesting development for a company like this, just because we're seeing a lot of companies use this kind of backlog metric as a way to examine what their future earnings could look like. And this has pretty big implications for a company the size of Supermicro. Now, obviously, building all the server racks and all of the hardware necessary to run data centers is a very, very important part of what's going on in AI development at the moment. This is an interesting play at the moment. This company, I think, given its volatility and given its current valuation, could be worth a lot more than it is in the future. So definitely one that I'm watching on a short list. One that I probably should have been watching earlier. Another really interesting one was GE Vernova. This was a big loser today, down 8%. And despite the fact that we have record orders and that we're doing extremely well on GE Vernova's end, also down today. I made fun of you for SMCI, Lionheart. What did I say? I don't know if did I make fun of you? What exactly did I say? What's going on with ServiceNow? I haven't checked ServiceNow's price today, but it's probably I would imagine it's ugly. Was a scam? I called this a scam? I think that's oh, okay, God. You scared the shit out of me. I didn't no, I don't no. I don't remember calling this company a scam. It was Strategy Inc. I think that they have a very similar ticker to this. Oh, thanks, Lionheart. Appreciate it. Thank you. You got me good, though. Damn, you had me there for a second. You had me. My God, my heart skipped a beat. Jeez. Google's testing 340. Well, their earnings come out after the market closed today. Take-Two Interactive, I think they're down a little bit today. And ServiceNow is down. How's ServiceNow doing? ServiceNow is actually in really interesting territory. My target price for them is somewhere around this mark. Lionheart, appreciate the gifts. Thank you. This is an interesting price for ServiceNow. As far as why it's down 6% today, I don't know what's going on. This is actually kind of strange. But regardless, I think this is actually an interesting point for the company. And then GE Vernova also getting beaten up today as well. It could be a good opportunity to buy more shares in GE Vernova. The market's doing really strange things today. We're seeing like Nebius CoreWeave up an insane amount. We're seeing lots of things down. And then the Reddit news. Yeah, the Reddit news, I think that with respect to what's going on in Reddit, I know Reddit's down 10% today, quite a bit, nearly 10%. Yeah, so I think that this is the content licensing play for Reddit. It was disappointing to see, not going to lie. I think that this is something that the company is still going to pursue. They're probably they're renegotiating with Google at the moment. Obviously, unfortunate news. It could be a really promising line of business for them. So I think that there's still a lot to like about Reddit. Obviously, there's an issue. Obviously hasn't done that well today. Bit of a disappointing results, but that's fine. And another rough day for Microsoft. Yeah, so a lot of the Mag 7 are down. It's probably, my guess is this is ahead of Google earnings. Google's earnings are supposed to come out today. We're also supposed to get earnings on, like Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon, I believe, are next week. But my guess is that there's a bit of a sell-off in Microsoft stock just due to the fact that we're seeing Google's earnings. Given how the market is behaving recently with good results and, okay guidance, things get sold off pretty quickly. I would imagine that that's related to it. We'll see, though. Good entry point for Reddit? I think so, yeah. I lost audio when you gave your opinion of ServiceNow. I think it's a good point. ServiceNow is entering a really, really interesting price. Thoughts on KTOS? Yeah, as far as Kratos, I don't like how they're barely profitable, to be honest. I remember talking about these guys. It's also, its valuation is extremely high. Can you put the ticker once more? He hasn't seen it. Jeez, which... Oh, are we talking about Kratos? Because I've talked about these guys before. Yeah, overvalued. And their margins aren't great for a defense contractor, that's for sure. All right, TE Connectivity. Honestly, Bitcoin, I haven't seen these. I haven't even heard of these guys before. What do they do? Is this like a telecom company in Europe? Sells connectivity sensor solutions Europe. Yeah, to be honest, it would be hard for me to give an informed opinion about these guys because I've never heard of this company before. So, honestly, as far as its performance today, pretty disappointing. It reported impressive Q3 results, achieving $5.16 billion in sales and achieved EPS of $2.94. Yeah, as far as why they're down, my guess is it might be profit taking. I'm not 100% sure. Is it better to do short-term stocks or long-term? In the long term, you're usually going to, and the long term is usually better. If you trade in the short term, people typically get burned. Been a fan of GE Vernova opinions. Yeah, GE Vernova I think is an interesting play at the moment. I think that this correction that we're seeing with GE Vernova is honestly an overreaction. No, there's a ton of things to like about GE Vernova. As far as what they're going to provide to energy suppliers, I think there's still strong future demand for this. So honestly, I like GE Vernova. I think that this is improves their value. It improves the value proposition from a trade perspective for GE Vernova, in my opinion. Sucks with the 6% drop because project move is 11%, and now if bullish pulls it back in the range. So what will happen after today's earnings for ServiceNow? We'll see. We'll see. I think here's the thing with respect to ServiceNow, and everybody seems to be paying attention to their correction today. To be honest, my target price for ServiceNow was between $90 and $95 a share. So if we continue to see this correction, I think that it's better than I think that's a good thing. So that because it essentially improves the value, the thesis of a value investor into this company. When it was above $100 a share, I think it was a little bit expensive, to be honest. Shorted 200 at Tel Holden short. Nice, well done. Jake, this is Yahoo Finance, and then this is Barron's right here. I've got two different websites up at the moment. I also have filing data right here in case we want to look at it and do a little bit more deep dives into some certain stuff. View on Atlassian. Honestly, I think ServiceNow is a better a better proposition at the moment. I'm a little bit more excited about them. Yeah, as well as the earnings at 5 p.m. That's also some big news as well. So honestly, my guess is that the market is probably going to expect mixed guidance from ServiceNow, which is why we're seeing a sell-off. And usually, like for companies that are approaching their earnings, we will see, some things trade in a bit of red. Like, for example, Google's a little bit in the red today. We see Microsoft and Meta, their earnings coming in next week, probably ahead of the Google earnings that we're going to get later this afternoon. Thoughts on Jersey Mike's S1? Ben, I still got to finish reading it. To be honest, it could be okay. I still haven't finished reading it. When are you going to start buying SpaceX if you're going to buy it? Well, it's definitely not right now, George. Definitely not right now. SpaceX is massively overvalued, even at this price. I honestly should have shorted this stock a long time ago. Also, the other thing, too, is that a lot of people take a look at what Cathie Wood's investment moves are. She's the lady that runs ARK Invest and the ARK funds. And they kind of treat her as a Jim Cramer almost. So whatever she does, people avoid. She's optimistic about SpaceX, and she got yet another call wrong on a company. Even at this price, this is a massively overvalued company. Target for 65.70 for SpaceX. Honestly, I think it's closer to 60. What do we think about ServiceNow long term? They've done an excellent job kind of navigating the SaaS apocalypse. I did a 30-minute YouTube deep dive on ServiceNow. The target price I actually mentioned at the end of that video, I think, is $88 a share. But I think somewhere between 90 and 95 isn't bad. It's happening to Take-Two stock. Just some minor corrections. Honestly, I should probably load up on more shares. What do you think about Reddit CEO selling stock? I understand it was pre-planned. If it's pre-planned, I don't really care. If they're trying to dump some vested options, improve their liquidity, that's not something that's a huge concern to me. Flutter Entertainment. Who are they, Dan? Do you have a ticker? Do we have a ticker for them? ServiceNow is going to hit earnings big time. I could see it. But again, I think the 6% correction that we're seeing is just getting ahead of, it's just ahead of earnings. People are probably a little bit concerned. Thoughts about Tesla? I don't invest in automotive companies, let alone Tesla. Tesla's massively overexpensive. Just massively expensive, not worth it. Am I buying ServiceNow before earnings? No, honestly, I'm not. It's one that I've been watching. It's one that I've done a deep dive on. Like right now, if ServiceNow went below $90 a share, I'd probably get in. Will that end up happening? It could. It just depends on how the earnings call goes today. What are they concerned about? Well, I'm sure that there are some analysts who have ran models on ServiceNow and might be a bit concerned about what their predictions are, what their assumptions are, data that they may see that I don't. That could have an impact on what the company's valuation is. But this isn't. Yes, this is a big correction going into earnings, but a correction going into earnings or immediately after earnings is not something that's out of the ordinary. $100 calls are calling my name for ServiceNow. There you go. Thoughts on the Micron comeback? Yeah, exciting stuff. To be honest, I think this is still an interesting price for Micron. Obviously, its valuation is contingent upon a lot of the order backlog it does have, but I still like it as a business. Still like it as the fundamentals are there for Micron 100%. A lot of things to like about them. Strategy. Are we talking about Strategy Inc? Yeah, MSTR. Not a fan of this company at all. Not a fan. This is a company that's losing money hand over fist. It's completely contingent upon what the price of Bitcoin is. This is not. I wouldn't touch this with a 40-foot pole. Not a great business. They made up a non-GAAP financial metric. That tells you everything you need to know. And they're having to sell some of their Bitcoin in order to make dividend and debenture payments. Thoughts on Microsoft? Any of the Mag 7 going into earnings, honestly, I don't think are bad plays. Microsoft obviously hasn't been the best out of all of them. And it's not my favorite. I don't think it's a bad play, though. Yeah, Nebius is back up. I know that Nebius and CoreWeave are having a great day today. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see why neoclouds are going up. I mean, obviously, NVIDIA, the NVIDIA investments is big news, and that's definitely good prospects for this company. But NVIDIA has been doing that with a lot of different businesses to basically, put their finger in everybody's pie. SMCA thoughts they have nearly 100 billion backlog orders. So yeah, obviously impressive, and their valuation isn't anything insane. But the problem is with SMCI is that here's my, as far as unearned revenue and order backlogs, those are all great and those are all awesome. But that's not guaranteed, right? Like funds haven't been wired to them yet for delivering yet. So, and I think in my view, I think that the market and investors overall are just slightly over optimistic about companies being able to deliver on their order backlog. Some certainly will. Will SMCI be able to do it? I'd say it's more likely than not, but it's definitely not 100% guaranteed. What website is this? I've got Yahoo Finance up. Thoughts on ServiceNow long term? It's a good SaaS company. They've done a good job. Oracle. Oracle is something that honestly is a little bit concerning to me, given the fact that their debt just got downgraded. They went from, I think, BBB to BBB-. That's not great. And it's mainly because of the credit risk with the OpenAI commitments. That's something that I think is a bit concerning. I think OpenAI is less likely to be able to spend all that cash they said they would with a company like Oracle than something like SMCI being able to deliver on its revenue backlog. Reddit. I'm long on Reddit. Obviously, the news today was disappointing. It makes sense why it's correcting this much. I'm still long on the company. I think that there's still a lot of value to be had from the AI content licensing. So we'll see how this plays out. We'll see how it plays out. I still like Reddit though. There aren't any good long options for long-term investing right now or short-term trading profits. Yeah, I mean, for some value investors, that certainly makes sense. That sounds like somebody who's a value investor. Did you already do SpaceX? I've touched on SpaceX briefly. SpaceX is despite the fact that it's at 116 a share, this is not a good, massively overvalued. SpaceX, honestly, in my view, is probably worth about half this. It's real. It should be trading at somewhere around $60 a share. Thoughts on AMD? I know that AMD just got a big announcement from Meta. Meta and AMD announced a partnership. I think AMD is doing pretty well today. Yeah, up 2% today. To be honest, I like NVIDIA more. I think that AMD's pretty expensive. I think that NVIDIA just beats AMD in pretty much every measurable category. I'd rather take NVIDIA. Ondas, huge backlog, and same board, love their CEO. Also think the defense sector is growing fast. So Nate, I've talked about Ondas before. Ondas is cool. They've got some cool technology. They're doing some interesting stuff. Having a pretty decent day today. They broke above $8 a share for the first time in a while. Here's the thing. For someone like them, they need to nail down a big Pentagon order. And I'm talking like a multi-billion-dollar Pentagon contract. Is that going to happen anytime soon? It could take a while. There's things to like about them. This is pretty expensive for a drone manufacturer and defense contractor of this caliber. There's a lot of things to like about it. It's a bit expensive for me. Thoughts on the Reddit news? Disappointing. I'm still long on Reddit though. Please do a deep dive on SoFi Technologies on your YouTube. Can't have you missing out on the run. Yeah, a lot of people are curious about SoFi. A lot of people like to talk about SoFi. SoFi is not. I mean, I have it on a watch list. It's honestly not that. Like its story and what's going on with SoFi, I don't see a breakout happening with SoFi. It's kind of had a bit of a rough year, and it's a little bit expensive for basically the financial services and the banking services it offers. It's a mid. It's not that exciting. The deep dive I'm currently working on is on a company called ISRG, Intuitive Surgical. They have some pretty interesting thoughts. How do you come up with target prices for companies that might be over or undervalued? D-Rich, I do something called a discounted cash flow analysis on them. So what I do is I look at the company's capital structure, come up with a discount rate to apply to future cash flows based on that. And I also look at the useful life of its assets on its balance sheet, as well as quality of earnings, market share, what sort of growth it can capture in the future, all types of stuff. Gonna have to disagree on Ondas, super bullish, but I get it. No, and listen, if you have a better, and this goes for anybody, if you have a better bull thesis than you think I do, or a better bear or bull thesis, or you think I'm just straight up wrong about something, I'd honestly love to hear from you. Like I love to exchange ideas with people who I may not fully agree with, because I think at the end of the day that would make both of us better investors. So if you have like a well thought out, very bullish thesis for Ondas, I'm all ears. I'm 100% all ears. And that goes for anything, any company. Why is AMD up 3% today, but Meta's down? What's your opinion on Meta? Scared of the overspend? Yeah, so AMD's up because of its deal it announced with Meta, and I think Meta's down ahead of Google's earnings this afternoon. That's my take, but we'll see. Thoughts on Nokia's performance? Been disappointed lately? I don't. Nokia is a company I honestly don't take that seriously. Thoughts on ISRG at these levels? I haven't gotten into ISRG. I like that it's coming down. I'm working on my deep dive on this company. It was, it's had kind of a not an ideal year. The company's moat is insane, though. Like, the technology this business has is incredibly good. And there's an incredible staying power of its products. Capital or barriers to entry for the business that it's in are ridiculously high. So I think there's really good staying power for this business. The thing is, though, is that I think Intuitive Surgical is very reliant on soft tissue surgeries, and they're also affected by changes in Medicaid and Medicare policy. They basically need surgeons to continue. They need procedure volume to go up in order to do well. And I'll have more thoughts about that in my deep dive video on YouTube. What do I think about CoreWeave? I think CoreWeave is complete dog poop. This is a company that I have a massive short position in. Despite the fact that it's up 4% today, I'm still profitable on my short. This is a company that's going to get crippled by its debt. It's competing with its customers. Quality of earnings is not great. And I think that on some of their chips, they're not depreciating them fast enough. Do we get a deep dive on Rheinmetall? Yeah, Olaf, I know you've been asking about that. We'll get there. We'll get there. There's a lot of things. Got a lot of things, and a lot of people ask me to do a lot of stuff. So we'll see. Andrew, are semis cooked after July? No, I don't think they are. Is the dip over? For who? Which company? Freeport McMoran Copper. Callum, do you have a ticker for them? JBL Manufacturing and Tech and Medical. Gravy, I've heard of them. Do we have a ticker for JBL? What do you think of Microsoft? I think I like Microsoft, to be honest. What about Elf Beauty Supply? Do you think it's a buy at current prices? Yeah, Dylan, I did a deep dive on Elf Beauty. That's my most recent one I did. What was weird with Elf Beauty is that we saw a big breakout right here earlier this week, when it went up to $79 a share, which was kind of funny because I was like, I don't see it breaking above 80, and then it did briefly. Elf Beauty's an interesting one. My target price for them is about $100 a share. They made some really smart moves acquiring Rode as well as Naturium, and their marketing is top notch. Their marketing and use of social media is top notch. They're definitely taking market share from household names. So honestly, I like Elf Beauty and what they've done. What do you think about U.S. Antomedy and their huge contract with the federal government? Poppy, I haven't seen that news. What do I think about IREN? I know that IREN is up today. They made the right. So here's my thoughts on IREN. They made the right move from going from mining Bitcoin to basically being an AI neocloud. They have some interesting choices that they're making by putting a really heavy emphasis on basically supplying that power with renewable sources. It's a little bit expensive in my view. It nearly dipped below $30 a share, and I would have gotten in at that price. JBL is the ticker for Jabil Circuit. Okay. So these guys are tech and medical manufacturing. Engineering, manufacturing, and supply chain solutions worldwide, operates regulated industries, intelligent and connected living, digital. Okay. Cool. Subassembly. They're in a lot of stuff. Wow. 1966. So if we go look at their finances, just a quick overview. Pretty thin margins on these guys. That's a pretty bloated balance sheet too. Obviously, there's more to the story than this, but they're doing $275 million profit on nearly $9 billion in revenue. Okay, so they got a lot of things they're paying for. My guess is their operating margin is taking up the most of that. Okay. I'd need to see the bull thesis for these guys, but I mean, at first glance, and obviously it's just a very first glance scratching the surface here. I don't know. To be honest. Freeport McMoran copper. Callum, with copper, so this is a mining company, right? They own mines, correct? I think that's the case with these guys. Yeah. So here's the thing. I don't get into mining stocks because if I wanted copper exposure, I'd just go straight to the futures market. Why would you buy stock in a company with expenses getting in the way of the actual commodity you're after? And I apply the same logic to gold and silver and other precious metals that have a futures market. I'd rather just go after the commodity itself, go to the futures market. Because I don't want to have to expose myself to like dumb choices a board of directors might make when it comes to a company like this or something like that. Or debt that they're using to finance acquisitions of certain stuff. So that's kind of my take. I think about SpaceX long term, even though it's taking a hit. In the very long run, I'm actually bullish on SpaceX. Right now, though, like immediately after its IPO, it's still massively overvalued. The stock's moving in the right direction, 100%. To be honest, I think it's worth around $60 a share, probably about half of this. So there's some things to be said, and a lot of people have been talking about SpaceX. What are good margins for a company are very dependent on it depends on the sector. Definitely contingent upon the sector. We'll cover Google earnings. I know like that comes out today. We'll look at what their earnings have been like. I'm surprised it's not down even more. I'd imagine they'll probably beat, but we'll see. You gonna stay on for now earnings? No, it's a little too late. Unfortunately, I got some stuff I need to take care of. Just bought now, big earnings. Let's go. Yeah, we'll see. Any thoughts on Jersey Mike's IPO? August, I'm still in the middle of reading the S1. Still got to finish reading the S1. Could be an interesting one. ASTS. Jack, I was pretty bearish on ASTS. I still kind of am. Somebody who was watching my stream the other day sent me a pretty long DM of all their notes, which I greatly appreciated. It was super awesome reading it on why they're bullish on ASTS. I can see why people are more bullish on it now, looking at it from a different, looking at another perspective, or looking at it from a different perspective. Very, very big execution risk. Massive execution risk. There's a lot. There's things to be excited about the technology in the company. It's pretty volatile. They have a high beta, so they have a high cost of capital. That means if I want to discount their future cash flows, that's going to increase that discount rate. That's not accretive to the future value of the company. That's not necessarily their fault, but there are more. I can see more things to like about it than I did before. Will, what's going on? Feelings on NVIDIA? NVIDIA's an interesting one. There's a lot of things to like about NVIDIA. CoreWeave to the moon. Yeah. Having a good day today, but honestly, this stock is moving in the wrong direction. I'm short on CoreWeave. Feelings on Intel? Intel is so Intel in some ways, I don't want to compare. It's not like so like SpaceX. I'm very bullish on Intel long term, very long term. Right now, though, I'm not. The whole idea of them turning around their foundry business is going to take a long time, very long time. $104 a share is too expensive for Intel. I did hold Intel I got into Intel in 2022, and I sold it this year when it hit 128. It was great. It was awesome. Made a lot of money on that. But it's going to take a while. Thoughts on Palantir? Yeah, Palantir, very impressive growth, very impressive margins, very impressive with what they're doing on how they basically acquire customers. I love the whole forward deployed engineer concept. Their ontology system is pretty cool. I think that Gotham and Apollo are pretty neat. It's overvalued though. The market overhyped Palantir too much. It's a little bit. It's just a little too expensive. Google thoughts getting sued left and right. I'm sure they are, and I'm sure they'll probably beat earnings. Think about IBM. Can it turn around? IBM has. I don't know. It was pretty shocking to the entire world what happened to them. I mean, when you're this was insane. The worst trading day for them ever. We'll see. Was it an overreaction? I think it probably was. I think there's things to like about IBM at this price. I'd have to take a closer look into what their quality of earnings are, and honestly, how they're going to really grow their quantum segment. I think that's the future for IBM, is quantum computing. And I know that they're a leader in that space. I'd have to see how long it will take for them to generate free cash flow from that. Is Apple overvalued? Honestly, I don't think so. I'm probably never going to sell my shares in Apple. I don't ever. This company's too valuable. Its staying power is too insanely good. Thoughts on SanDisk? I think it was pretty good. I think they're having a good day today. Yeah, doing all right. SanDisk had a great week. Definitely recovered after that big memory sell-off we saw earlier this month. To be honest, I could see it staying at around this levels. It may creep back up to $2,000 a share by the end of the year. We'll see though. When it was trading at 2300, back here in June, that was kind of crazy. I don't think we'll see that again for a little while. Its valuation it's not totally insane. It's slightly rich for my taste, but I get why people like it, and there's a lot of things to like about SanDisk. I definitely need to dig deeper into them though. Check Palantir and IonQ. Okay, so thoughts on Palantir. Solid company, does well, good business, overvalued, overhyped. That's not their fault. This isn't Palantir's fault. I'm not going to pay 139 times earnings for a company. IonQ, really cool technology, love what they're doing. Too early for me. Thoughts on ServiceNow before earnings? I could see them beating earnings, and I know that they're one company that's navigated the quote-unquote SaaS apocalypse extremely well. There's things to like about ServiceNow, and they're close to what my target price is. And I have a 30-minute deep dive into ServiceNow on my YouTube channel. You guys should go check that out. But there's things to like about the company. I mean, will we go back to, what was it, like like back here at January levels? That'll take a while, I think. Around 130 to 140 a share. It may take a little while. This could be a good entry point for ServiceNow, though. What's your IRR been from Apple, and how long have you been an investor? Oh, geez. My IRR on Apple, man, I bought my first shares in Apple in 2012, I think. So I don't know. It's been one of my better investments, though. Caterpillar? Yeah, how is Caterpillar doing today? I know Caterpillar kind of entered the news lately that Michael Burry is officially shorting them. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Last year, they're incredible. Their performance has been absolutely incredible, especially since, honestly, for the past year. Really impressive what the stock has done. And deservedly so. They did a really smart move by their whole idea of essentially leasing out their equipment was smart. It was an incredible value stock back in October. It'll probably come down, honestly. For an industrial, it's a pretty rich valuation, about 40 times earnings. It should be somewhere I think the peer group's sitting at somewhere around 29 maybe. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, and honestly, the fluff in Caterpillar's valuation is contingent upon AI center development or data center development. He thinks it's made according to his thesis. I'm very bullish. Oh, is this Ondas? ONDS? Yeah, Ian, send it to me. I'd be interested to see what your bullish thesis is. Send it to me. Thoughts on SK Hynix? Listen, they walk the walk and they talk the talk. I'll say that. I mean, they're South Korea's Micron, right? So for those of you who are, maybe want some international exposure to the semiconductor production space, then SK Hynix is your pick. Pretty impressive what they've done. And it was pretty interesting when they made waves after getting listed on the NASDAQ. SoFi, kind of boring. Kind of a boring story. Not that excited about SoFi, to be honest. It's probably okay. It's not had a good year, though. Thoughts on SpaceX? SpaceX is worth about half of what it is. Still massively overvalued. It was SoFi, not Ondas. Oh, my bad, Ian. Sorry. Thoughts on Uber, especially the purchase of Delivery Hero? Definitely a developing story for sure. And I also heard rumors that they may try and acquire Grab. That would be interesting because that would basically make Uber like one of the primary delivery services in Asia, which is exciting stuff. And honestly, I think the synergy between the two would be really great. I mean, I've used Grab in Thailand before, personally, taken a Grab in Thailand. I've taken Ubers here in America where I'm from. This synergy is pretty damn good. Definitely a lot of potential for cost synergies between the two. How do you think Intel's earnings will go tomorrow? I mean, it's going to be negative. That like it's not, they'll be unprofitable, I'd imagine, unless by some miracle they're not. It's just a question of how bad it is. It's not necessarily the earnings, the actual numbers on Intel. I would be paying attention to. It's the guidance. It's the letter from the CEO. It's the letter from the board. That's what's going to move Intel stock. It's the guidance, much like what we saw with Netflix last week. What do you think of Kioxia? Impressive. I think it's a little expensive though. Thoughts on Visa? I've owned a bunch of it from long term. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like Visa is a solid blue chip pick. Is Visa going to make you a millionaire overnight? No, absolutely not. But there's like things to like about Visa is the stability. It's overall steady growth over time, and its yield. Like you're going to get a consistent dividend out of Visa. It's not going to be capturing 10% of the payments processing market next week, though. That's the thing. So it's all right. It's kind of a buy and forget stock. What do you think of IonQ? I believe quantum computing will be the future. Yeah, I agree. I agree that quantum has a lot of potential. The potential for quantum computing is pretty incredible. However, it's early. Looking at the income statements for quantum computing firms is pretty insane. The R&D costs are it's a lot. It's a lot. Nebius. Yeah, I know Nebius is doing well after the, and its fellow NeoCloud group. Actually, I'm surprised it's not trading higher. Interesting stuff going on with them. Like Nebius, CoreWeave, IREN, these guys have had a decent week. We'll see, though. HIMS, are they going back to the high teens this year? To be honest, I don't think so. I don't see it. I could be wrong, though. I don't like how HIMS and hers is like, as their fundamentals and like their recent financial performance over the last couple quarters hasn't been. Yeah, I mean, like they should be making money, and when they do, it's just not. It's really not that great. So as far as going back to the high teens this year, I'm sorry, I think they could. Yeah, it's possible, but I'm not gonna, sit here and pretend like I know they will, because honestly, nobody does. Caused the move on CEG. Yeah, did Constellation move? Was there some nuclear announcement or something like this? IBD says nuclear stocks rally off lows on milestone U.S. Steel and AI program. Okay. Yeah, so it's nuclear news. Constellation's an interesting one. I think they have it's how they basically dominate the Florida market. Provides the stability. But in my view, the long term is the nuclear play for them. That's kind of my thoughts. What do you think on IREN? IREN's expensive. They made the right moves. It's expensive though. I'm glad it's not trading at above $50 a share because it was way too expensive at that point. Thoughts on Oracle? Oracle kind of was on a short wait list for me a little while back. The credit downgrade from triple B to triple B minus is not good. to be honest, I think that Oracle is overestimating the probability of success with OpenAI delivering on its spending commitments. And I think that S&P saw that too, hence the downgrade. So to be honest, and they were my least favorite hyperscaler anyway. Yeah, this isn't something that I'm super stoked about. Thoughts on ServiceNow? ServiceNow is at an interesting price. Did a deep dive on my YouTube channel on ServiceNow. We'll see how their earnings go. Unfortunately, I can't be around for that. I can't stream for that because I got some other commitments that I need to take care of this evening. I would imagine they may slightly beat earnings. The cool thing about ServiceNow is they've done an awesome job of integrating AI agents into their business. They've done a good job of navigating the SaaS apocalypse. The problem is that they despite revenue growth, margins aren't improving. So what that tells me is they probably have a sales teams that are kind of expensive to pay for. Yet by another token and looking at it from another lens, they have a really sticky ecosystem. Their customers stick with them, which is good. They're going to report in a few minutes. I saw 5 p.m. today, 5 p.m. Eastern. Not at market close for ServiceNow. The market's about to close in like 30 seconds, so. Yeah, the NVIDIA backstop for ServiceNow is helpful. NVIDIA is doing that for a lot of people, though. Now, not to say that that's a bad thing. We'll see. I think that when the thing is like when NVIDIA says that, yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was a little bit of a strange move in my view. Oh, the call's at 5, but it should be reported right after the bell. Okay, got it. And I think Google should be in a few minutes here too. What does it mean they're going to report? They're going to tell us how they've performed over the last 3 months financially. How much lower can ISRG go? I don't know, Jason, but it's an interesting story. Actually, wait a second. I want to see what the after-hours movement on ServiceNow is. Okay, nothing too crazy. So far, nothing too crazy yet, I should say. ISRG is the deep dive I'm working on at the moment. I don't know. Let's go see. And while I'm looking up ServiceNow earnings, can somebody let me know what Google reported? Because I know they're reporting today. Yeah, let's go look at the Google chart really quick. I know that, yeah, nothing too crazy for Google yet either. We'll see some pretty big movements. So when the report charts go up, down, yes, they absolutely can. They absolutely can. Got CNBC on. We'll let you know if they say anything. Appreciate it, Bryson. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Nothing yet for investor relations for ServiceNow. I'm on their site looking. I don't see anything yet for ServiceNow, but we'll see. Does the massive dip in ServiceNow not concern you? So here we go. Boom. What's going on with Google? I think they may have beat earnings. I'm going to check ServiceNow here really quick. Yeah, just kind of hanging out at 56 bips. Above the close. Okay. And then we'll go to Google here really quick. Can imagine good results But a pullback in price to increase capex spend from Google. Like that's not a bad. Honestly, that's a reasonable take. And I could see that happening. I mean, it's kind of all over the place at the moment for Google. I'll scroll down a little bit so you guys can see better. That because that does happen. And honestly, guidance moves the market today more than the actual data, which is kind of funny. We may have to wait for a few minutes for ServiceNow. I'm on their investor relations page. Haven't seen anything updated yet. So it could be a bit. Google's out. What do we have? $9.11 per share for Google. Interesting. Okay. Kioxia thoughts. Yeah, let me. So here's the thing with Kioxia. They're okay. So basically, they are Japan SanDisk, right? Similar valuation, doing similar stuff. It's something that I've seen before. It's something I think could be okay. I'm not the biggest fan of it, though. I think there are more exciting opportunities because most development is occurring within the U.S. Most memory is going to be deployed within the U.S. Interesting. Yeah, Google's all over the place, man. Yeah, I figured Google would beat earnings. Let's see if we have any news on ServiceNow. The CapEx spend, though, for Google, I think is what's going to scare a lot of people away, or at least spook investors a little bit. So we'll see. When does Oracle report? Not for a while. IBM opportunity to buy. Well, Daniel, it could be because I'm going to wait for the updated data on IBM because that will definitely have an impact on what people's models say for their valuation, especially given the recent movement in their stock price, especially the fact that they had very recently had their worst trading day ever. Numbers out for Alphabet. Yeah, we had $9.11 per share. Nothing on ServiceNow yet. I'm not seeing anything. Let me check another source. Nokia. Not a big fan of it, to be honest. It's not something that I don't pay attention. That's something that I don't pay attention to. Google's dropping so much. Yeah, the reason is my guess is it's probably because that's not. Okay, yeah, we're down 2%. That's probably CapEx. It's probably guidance. Yeah, they beat earnings, but it's CapEx guidance that I'm sure is moving it. Thoughts on Micron? I think we may be out of the woods after that recent sell-off. 2% isn't yeah, and honestly, it's going to be going all over the place. It's jumping all over the place. I mean, I wouldn't imagine I wouldn't be surprised. Like, this isn't that surprising, to be honest. Immediately after earnings. Expectations for ServiceNow are 85 to 86 cents EPS, 22% year-over-year revenue increase to $3.93 billion. So we'll see. We'll see with ServiceNow. I still haven't seen anything on them, and I know that they were supposed to recently announce. Now, what's interesting is this is like basically right here at 90, like 93, 94. It's going to keep moving around, of course. This is like close to my target price for ServiceNow. So honestly, it's moving in the right direction for me. Q3 report be available after 20 minutes. We'll see. How did Alphabet free cash flow go negative? I'd imagine that'd be CapEx, right, Bryson? I mean, I'm looking at multiple things at once. I'm paying more attention to ServiceNow, but I don't know if somebody's on the call or listening to the Google call, or yeah, I mean, and can share information. Yeah, so the call for ServiceNow isn't until 5 o'clock, but I think that and they haven't uploaded anything on their investor relations website, and there hasn't been any kind of press release for ServiceNow. So I don't that we may not find out for another hour on ServiceNow. Where do you find the specific news? Internet. The internet. I'm on. This is Yahoo Finance right here, and then I also have Barron's open. We'll go to Google earnings. I'm going to get started reading the letter. I'd imagine that the CapEx guidance for Google is probably going to spook some investors a little bit. Things are staying relatively stable, though, because I know evidently they beat. Jersey Mike IPO thoughts. Bernie, I'm in the middle of reading the S1 for that. I'm in the middle of reading that S1, so don't have complete thoughts yet. It's definitely an interesting situation, though. So buy Google tomorrow, hold off. To be honest, Alphabet was never really at a bad price at any point this year, in my view. Its valuation, even when we saw the May peaks, wasn't anything crazy. There's still a lot to like about Google. There's still a lot to like about a lot of Mag 7 stocks at the moment. Got in at 188 for Google. It'll be back up tomorrow. Great performance. Fantastic performance. Do we have a jump for ServiceNow? Where are they at? I don't see. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Maybe they finally uploaded it. Still not seeing news on ServiceNow. I mean, I know the call isn't for a while, but what is ServiceNow? What do you like them? ServiceNow is a software as a services company. So they basically have like CRM software, HR, sales, legal. They provide a bunch of software to large organizations, kind of like what Salesforce does. Fermi Inc., what do you think? Well, we'll get to Fermi Inc. in a minute. Just a minute. Thoughts on GE Vernova earnings? To be honest, I'd imagine they'd beat, but it could very easily go one direction or another. This is new to my algorithm. Thoughts on AI bubble and a crash? Becca, that's how much time do you have? That's how I would answer that question. I don't. To be honest, I don't. Trying to predict when a crash is a fool's errand. Are things overvalued at the moment? In general, yes, I do. But that's a conversation for that's easily a 4-hour conversation I could have. Short answer is I'm not going to predict a crash, but yes, I do think things are overvalued at the moment in general. I'd imagine ServiceNow beat. I'm on there like. I guess they're kind of being quiet until their call. So we'll have to see how things go. Did you just see Google reports? Yeah, I did. I heard it was $9.11 per share. Let's see how they're doing after hours. Probably down, no? Yeah, basically flat. Yeah, just kind of going all over the place. I'll have to look at their 10Q. Look a little bit closer at it. Please review Intel. I invest all my money at 128. Oof. To be honest, I think that Intel is even still too expensive at this price. Kind of a tough one. Yeah, it's yeah. 128. Getting in at Intel at 100. That's when I got out of Intel at 128 a share. ServiceNow 90 cents a share. Nice. Okay. Yeah, that was just so that's a slight beat. Very good year-over-year results, I'd imagine. So let's go back to them, see how they're doing. Yeah, there you go, up 2% aftermarket. Makes sense. Double beat. Adjusted EPS, 90 cents versus 85 estimate. I saw some estimates it was 88 or 89. Sales were nearly $4 billion versus $3.9 billion expected. That's impressive. That's pretty impressive for ServiceNow. Not bad. Not bad. There's some things to like about it, and here's the thing. While the fact that ServiceNow is trading at like a 56, 57 PE, in many ways it kind of does deserve that premium valuation just because of the fact that the stock is, or the company's ecosystem is stickier than Salesforce's. It's got solid. It's got implemented AI agents. I would argue pretty successfully in its business. So the slide earnings beat isn't a huge surprise to me. This is a pretty interesting movement, though. I'd imagine we could see people taking profits tomorrow, though, based on this. We'll see, though. IBM's up 4%. Nice. It's a good sell price for ServiceNow. So long term, so based on the Q1 data I saw for ServiceNow and my most recent analysis that I did on my YouTube channel was around $90 a share for ServiceNow. I'd have to look at the 10Q and see how things will change because I didn't have fully complete information for my DCF model, and now that we do, now that earnings are out, that could change things. It honestly could. Thoughts on VTI for an IRA? A decent move, Mateo. Not a bad move. Take-Two Interactive. I know that they had a nice little run going there for a while. They're probably back around like $240 a share last I checked. Long term, I'm bullish on Take-Two Interactive. 233, excuse me. I'm bullish on Take-Two Interactive. I like them at this price. I'm very interested to see their Q2 earnings report. It's going to be really interesting to see how things look for Take-Two Interactive. Thoughts on Amazon? I like Amazon. I like it's probably my favorite Mag 7 if I'm being honest. There's a lot to like about Amazon, but there's also a lot to like about Meta. There's a lot to like about Microsoft. And then next week we'll find out what these guys' earnings are as well as Microsoft's and Amazon. So the Mag 7, I don't dislike any of them at the moment. Oracle is the exception, though, if you want to count them as that. Oracle is one that I would avoid. How's Google looking with earnings? Google beat. They beat. Thoughts on Hims and Hers, especially upcoming FDA meeting. The margins are super thin. And I know last quarter they did not do well. Or at least they were unprofitable, I think, in Q1 26. I would expect them to do – I would expect the business to do better than it is. Kind of disappointing, to be honest. And the upcoming FDA meeting, I mean, that can move things a lot. So kind of a lot riding on them. Thoughts at Netflix at $68 a share. With Netflix, Brody, the thing that scares me about Netflix is why they shifted the goalposts on how they define their primary engagement metric. I read their letter to shareholders. It did not read well. Did not bode well for them. I was a bit disappointed from what I saw. I'm all in on Oracle at 140. Should I sell or wait? Bella, to be honest, I don't like Oracle at that price. If institutions take profit on ServiceNow on the spike, can we see a downtrend tomorrow? We could, Wilt. But I don't, if you're holding stock in ServiceNow, I think there's reason to continue holding it despite what it does tomorrow. Thoughts on Boeing? It's got a long road ahead of it. I mean, Boeing really screwed the pooch back in the late 2010s. And so far, the 2020s have not been kind to Boeing. Here's the thing about Boeing. They need to put an aerospace engineer back in the driver's seat. Like the board of directors at Boeing, they need engineers running the company, not PE guys or Wall Street guys that don't know jack about building aircraft or manufacturing aircraft. Is it going anywhere? No. I want to love Boeing. I want to love this stock. I mean, Boeing's one of two worldwide, right? Tons of things to love long term about Boeing. It's the lights at the end of the tunnel for Boeing, and it's getting there. I'm gonna wait and see. It's a wait and see for me. What do you think now could peak at tomorrow? Is just a guess. ServiceNow. To be honest, I could see it going back up above $100 a share. I mean, it already has after market. We could see people taking profits though on ServiceNow. So yeah, I could see it hitting like 100 and like 102 maybe tomorrow. That's a pretty damn good day. So that's like definitely on the very, very high end of the spectrum. But yeah. What do you think about Netflix? It's a wait and see. Do you like Airbus or Boeing more? At the moment, Airbus is doing a better job. Also, we need to have a perfect 777X launch and steady at 10 years. Well, the 777X program is already years behind schedule. I won't imagine we'll see a 777X flying for at least another 18 months, if I'm being completely honest. It's just kind of an ugly mess at Boeing, and Airbus is eating their lunch. What's happening with SpaceX? It was predicted to be booming. That's called the post-IPO hangover, my friend. That's what happens when hype meets reality. SpaceX right now, its intrinsic value, in my opinion, is around $60 a share. This is still insanely overvalued. And historically, people get burned in IPOs. Historically, IPOs usually do not perform well. And SpaceX is, I think I saw an article on Barron's the other day that's like the worst in like 20 years. SpaceX doesn't make a profit? No, it loses a lot of money. Can I get a high? Hi, Jigia. Thoughts on Honeywell Aerospace? They just IPO'd. I was a Honeywell shareholder as a result, and when the spinoff occurred, I got a couple of shares in them. Haven't paid a ton of attention to them, to be honest. Do I think ServiceNow is a good buy long term? I'd have to read the entire 10Q and look at the whole earnings report and look at the letter to shareholders. It's looking like that way, yeah. Thoughts on AMD? I don't like AMD as much as I like. I don't like AMD as much as I like Nvidia. I don't get, like, if you're going to buy stock in AMD, I almost don't see the point because Nvidia is just a better company. I read a few books on space during my time, and mining asteroids sounds really stupid. I don't think that's dumb. I honestly think that's the future, but the distant future or a long time from now. Oracle, I'm avoiding Oracle. I don't love it. Why is Nvidia not higher? It is the end of the day. I mean, Nvidia, here's the thing. Like, I mean, Nvidia had a great day. What do you mean, why is it not higher? 2.3% is a fantastic day for a company of this size. There's a lot to like about Nvidia. Why is AMD moving more than Nvidia? It's probably because of the Meta deal. Meta announced that it's going to acquire GPUs from AMD. What do you think about Palantir? Palantir, insane growth. Margin expansion is very impressive. The technology is cool. Things I do not like about Palantir is its valuation. It got overhyped way too much by the market, and I don't like the leadership at Palantir. I mean, when the CEO says that he thinks short sellers should be sprayed with fentanyl-laden pee from drones, fentanyl-laced urine, I should say, that's weird. That's not something a serious CEO says. Like, bro, come on. It's crazy comment. No, like, yeah. And he, like, you know, there's been rumors he's on ketamine all the time and stuff. So I don't know. Thoughts on Micron? Julian Petrulis predict a 480. Is he short on Micron? I think we're out of the woods with Micron. This was a weird sell-off right here at the beginning of July. But to be honest, the correction I think was coming. Here's the thing with Micron. The fundamentals are there. The good news is that anybody who wants to buy stock in Micron, the fundamentals are there, 100%. They walk the walk, or talk the talk and walk the walk. So, yeah, there's a lot to like about Micron in that sense. A lot of its valuation, I know, and a lot of people are banking very heavily on its forward PE, though. Could Amazon having a take your kids to work day this week impact stocks based off of nobody working? Mateo, I don't know why that would move a stock price at all. He was picked on as a kid. Are we talking about Alex Karp? I wouldn't be surprised if he was. I know that he, like, literally never learned how to drive. Like, he can't drive himself. What is the term you use to describe SpaceX? Something hangover? Kuba, I said post-IPO hangover. Everyone was partying and going crazy when SpaceX, like right here, this run-up was nuts. I mean, to be honest, I got in too. I got out pretty quick, though, because I knew, like, you know, you just have to look at the writing on the wall. Now we're in the hangover stage. Everyone was taking shots at tequila, and now we're in the hangover stage. So, we find out who are the real high conviction people are when it comes to SpaceX. Thoughts on Rocket Lab? Lot to like about it. Guys, appreciate the gifts, by the way. Thank you. Colin, thanks for the boxing gloves, man. Are you in on SoFi? To be honest, I think SoFi is a little bit boring. Not a huge fan. Take-Two Interactive, I'm very bullish on. Love Take-Two Interactive. The things I like about Take-Two Interactive, it's got very profitable publishing labels. I don't think the market is correctly priced in the launch of Grand Theft Auto 6 coming in November either, by the way. I think 2027 is going to be an insanely good year for Take-Two Interactive. I like it at this price. My current target price for Take-Two Interactive is $285 a share. I'd imagine that would go up, especially when we see Q2 earnings next month. Do you like any bank stocks? I just hold JP Morgan. I kind of treat it the same way I do my Apple position. I'm probably never going to sell it. Should I just follow what Nancy Pelosi does? I would read books first, Gio. I would educate yourself more about investing. Should have shorted SpaceX. I should have, yeah. CoreWeave. CoreWeave is another big high conviction play of mine. I'm very short this company. I have several short positions in CoreWeave. This company is not the foundation of this business is built on quicksand. The entire business model of CoreWeave banks upon what the unit economics are for GPU rental hours. The problem is these guys are using a massive amount of debt to finance that, and they're also competing with companies that pay them, which is not good. Quality of earnings suck. Growth prospects are, revenue growth is impressive, but they're losing money faster than they're earning revenue. Would you say SpaceX is in the same situation as Boeing with Elon as CEO? No, I don't. I think that SpaceX, SpaceX is not in the same position as Boeing at all. The reason why SpaceX the thing about SpaceX is that what's the massive cash sink for SpaceX is XAI. The Falcon program, Starship, Starlink, those are all making money. It's XAI that they're sinking a massive amount of money into. And if you read the S1, they're serious about putting data centers in space, in orbit. What book should I read on investing? Hamza, I would recommend you look into authors like Peter Lynch. I would recommend Benjamin Graham, The Intelligent Investor. That one of the best that book changed my life. Howard Marks has some interesting reads. Joel Greenblatt has good reads. Burton Malkiel. There's a lot of really, really good ex-Wall Street guys that have good investing philosophy. I think Ray Dalio has some good macro ideas. There's a lot of things to like. What do you think about SMCI? The revenue backlog's really impressive. 60 billion. I mean, that's the thing is though, is that we also have to we have to carefully examine what the probability of that entire revenue backlog. I don't know why. Okay? We'll just go here. We have to examine what the probability of that entire revenue backlog is as far as being successfully recognized as revenue over time. That's the key thing. Its valuation is interesting, and its fundamentals look pretty good. The one thing to dislike a little bit about it is that with this much revenue expansion over time, you should see some margin growth, but that's not not a deal breaker in my view. It's an interesting stock for sure. I've been selling my Google at 188 a share, and I have 8 shares left, little by little, to fund my VOO. Okay. Take-Two Interactive, I'm a fan of it. Can you do Palantir? Go to my YouTube channel, guys. If you want to look at my deep dive on Palantir, or my deep dive on Take-Two Interactive, or my deep dive on Reddit, it's all on my YouTube channel. I also have another couple of companies that I've done there as well. So like Waste Management, Nike, these guys. What's the reason you became it? Andrew, I don't even know if I call myself an influencer. I'm just here on TikTok because I wanted to start I'm starting the conversation I wanted to have. And it was fun making videos about it, and it's still fun, so that's why I'm still doing it. What do you think about Alphabet's report? How do you think it will affect Amazon, Meta, Microsoft? Henry, all I saw was the earnings and the beat. I haven't read the entire report yet. As far as I imagine, we'll probably see similar numbers. We'll probably see similar results for Meta and Microsoft. I think we'll probably see bigger CapEx numbers out of Meta. So yeah, what stock in your portfolio is the oldest? Apple. What is the YouTube channel? Duraco, go into the link in my bio. It should be there. My link tree in my bio. Nike continues to be dismal. Yeah, Nike's an interesting one. I'm still bullish on Nike. Nike's a bit of a dark horse at the moment. But I mean, when you've got an apparel firm with the margins that they do at a 20 times TTM price to earnings ratio, that's really good. Nike has incredible staying power. China is their main problem at the moment. And I like their new leadership. Got a weird take, but Berkshire Hathaway is the stock version of VO, or might even be. Yeah, no, that's not. It's not a weird take at all. Berkshire Hathaway, in a lot of senses, is almost an insurance ETF at this point with an insane amount of cash. That's Berkshire Hathaway. Is it possible to see if a company is on a good track ahead of earnings? What do you mean by that, Wilt? What was my biggest loss? Biggest loss. My position in ABR, Arbor Realty Trust, has been disappointing. I bought them at like 15 a share, and it's down to about 5. So that REIT has not, the value of the REIT or its market cap has not performed well. The yield on it is fantastic, though. Like, can you time a good earning? I mean, the thing is that until the company announces, your guess is nearly as good as anybody's. I mean, there's people that get paid a ridiculous amount of money to predict what earnings will be, and you can scour as much information and sources online, and you can do all types of work to try and assess what earnings will be. But until the news actually breaks, it's hard to say. Finally, someone agrees. On what, Fricks? Nike's the worst stock ever? Hardly. It's not the worst stock ever. No. How often do you balance your portfolio out? Couple times a year, I would say. I'm not a day trader at all. I'm an investor. I would consider myself an investor. ServiceNow, nice. Yep. Doing pretty good. Let's look at Walmart. Yeah, let's go check them out. Yep. A little bit of a down day for Walmart. Kind of an year for them. But to be honest, Walmart in many ways is a company I don't think you should ever sell. It's pretty insanely good as far as their staying power is concerned. Google spiking tomorrow. We may see a little bit, but I don't see it. I don't foresee a drastic one, a massive spike. We'll see though. Tesla missed earnings by 21 cents a share. And let me guess, is it up after hours? It's probably up after hours, right? No, it's down. Okay. I mean, it doesn't, to me, like from my personal perspective, it doesn't matter. I never bought stock in Tesla. I probably never will. And that's because of the fact that I don't buy stock in automotives. At all. Any of them. Okay, guys, unfortunately, I got to call it a stream. I'm running out of time here. So I appreciate everyone hanging out today. Love the crowd. Thank you so much to everybody who decided to give the gifts, T-Sod, Colin Lionheart. Thank y'all so much. Really, really, really appreciate it. I love having these conversations with everyone. I have a great time. And thank you to everybody who also decided to hit follow. Thank you, everybody who decided to hit the follow button. I go live every day during the week. So I will be back tomorrow. I will be back Friday. We'll probably pay close attention to what ServiceNow and Google are going to be doing tomorrow, especially now that they put earnings out. I'll do a little bit of reading tonight for you guys as well. So, I'll look at the Q2 earnings report, look at the letter to shareholders for ServiceNow, kind of give you guys my thoughts on that. There's also some other ones to pay attention to. I need to dig a little bit deeper into the bad news Reddit got today. There's all kinds of stuff. I got to work on my deep dive for ISRG that I need to release by tomorrow or by Friday afternoon. GE Vernova is also something that a lot of people have been keeping their eyes on, as well as SMCI and that $60 billion backlog. All kinds of crazy stuff going on. But regardless, thank you so much to everybody who decided to join today. I had a ton of fun talking with you. And if I missed your request, I apologize. Sometimes chat moves way too fast for me. I do my best to keep up with everyone. But if you want to learn more and you want to get my real, honest, deep dive takes into companies, go to my YouTube channel. And I'd love for you guys to subscribe there too. It would be it means a ton. And that's where I give real detailed answers. So go check out my YouTube channel if you guys would like, where the deep dives are. And thanks so much, everyone. We'll talk soon. Have a great evening.